As always, I am your host of the Hour of Politics. Welcome to the show. Today is going to be an interesting edition of the show. We are looking at the deaths of the four auditors in Liberia. We have the package here for you to deliver. That is what we do. We bring you fair, responsible, and balanced analysis of the issues as they unfold in the motherland. So, folks, as you have joined us, do us that usual favor by hitting that share button for us. We're going to break everything into pieces for you to understand what is going on and who is up to what and the other. Again, this is the Hour of Politics, and welcome to our broadcast. Are looking at the depths of the four auditors in Liberia, and this will be a unique analysis that I'm about to give you so you will understand how it all started and where we are now with the deaths of these individuals, some of whom having to be auditors or have somewhere to do in the auditing field in Liberia. They were individuals working for our government, and in the period of 8 days, 4 persons uh, were killed, some people said. And in fact, it's the president who said that the first two were killed. Others are saying they were killed. But the circumstances regarding their deaths are so mysterious that others are saying otherwise. And I'm here to break it all down for you so that at the end of the day, you can get a clear and better understanding of what has been going on in Liberia with this number of people that have been dying. And so, folks, stay with me as we get the ball rolling here. And thank you, as always, for joining us here at Focus on Liberia. And so, it is important for us to get started in no time. For those of you who want to be part of the conversation, the phone lines are already open. But as always, I will do my usual analytical presentation. And then after that, you will be given an opportunity to call, to add your own, to disagree with me, or maybe agree with me or whatever you may have to share. And so, folks, let's get started. Um, so, the news of two-person that work for the Liberia Revenue Authority, that news was reported on the 2nd of October. I believe it was on a Friday, and I have all the facts here to show you. So just stay here. I will do this quick, balanced, fair, and comprehensive analysis. And so those two individuals were reported dead. They were found dead in their car somewhere around the Sacred Heart Cathedral. I know some people call it Secret Heart. It's the Sacred Heart Cathedral, somewhere down Broad Street. So while Liberians were in shock, it was during the time of the president's birthday, just about that same time. And the president, while people were wondering as to whether these people were killed or it was some carbon dioxide person that killed them in the car, or some people were saying that maybe they ate something that killed them. The president made everything simple for us when he mounted the pulpit in his church, the Clone Church, and the president said they were killed. And so that is why many believe that the individuals were killed. And we will go into that because the information minister of Liberia also gave us some news, and we will be looking at that. But so, folks, here you have it. It is all in the papers, it's all in the international wires today about the death of four individuals who have knowledge of auditing work in our government. These people, our understanding is that They died. And again, the circumstances leading to their death remains something that others are scratching their head. So as you can see, 4 deaths in 8 days. Auditors fearing for their lives. Risky season for auditors in the Republic of Liberia. But folks, let me read something for you here quickly as we go into this presentation. So I'm displaying on my screen here, and it says, in the wake of the death of 4 auditors, 3 from the Liberian Revenue Authority and another from the Internal Audit Agency, the IAA, President George Weah and his Coalition for Democratic Change-led government are sending out an SOS call to the United States of America to help with the investigation into the mysterious deaths, all coming in 8 days. Speaking to state radio, the Liberian Broadcasting System, Sunday at the weekend, the president said it is sad that the latest deaths are happening at a time when when the country is nurturing a vibrant democracy where there is respect for fundamental human rights. Well, we will find out whether the president is telling the truth about his statement there. And so the news here is that we have 4 persons now that died. Some believe they were killed. And the reason for their death remains a mystery, remains a story that even our government is yet to unearth. But now you see our president speaking on behalf of his government or our government is sending out an SOS call. And as you listen to me reading that, that was just this weekend. But these people died in 8 days between the 2nd of October to the 8th of October. Today is the what? The 13th. The president spoke on the weekend. So these people died. When the first time the 2 persons were reported dead, the president did not come to speak to the nation, to address the country about the mysterious manner in which these individuals were killed. Instead, our president mounted the people in his church to say that those individuals were killed. And he made this pronouncement at the time the government had not done any preliminary investigation whatsoever. And so, folks, the question is, where did the president get his information from for which he said these people were killed? That is so significant. And that is why others who are so anxious for answers are saying maybe the president should be a suspect in this murder investigation. We are calling it a murder investigation because the president said they were killed. So this is a murder case. And so we should be having a murder investigation. For the president to come out and say these people were killed, of course, the logical thing to conclude is that he must have been briefed. The intelligent community must have briefed him that these people were killed. That is why the president came up without hesitation whatsoever and pronounced to the nation that those people were killed. This time we are talking about Abbott and Giftee. They were killed, according to the president. But yet the president did something unusual. After he made it clear that these people were killed, he did not stop there. He went further by saying, maybe boyfriend and girlfriend has something to do with their death. How did he get to know that? But that is not all. He doubled down by saying that, well, there are some people in the diaspora, some Liberians in the diaspora, Whenever they go to the diaspora, they get in trouble with the law. They come back to Liberia, and it is these individuals. He's saying these individuals are the ones who are always in the constant habit or engaging into these acts of killing people, these acts of armed robbery. Now, the fact is that there have been some people deported to Liberia from the diaspora, and they have been reported that some of them were involved into the armed robbery cases. But this is the president, when he's speaking on issue of national security, must bring nothing but the facts. But the thing is, the president insinuated two things: that these people, deaf, boyfriend and girlfriend, has something to do with it. He went further by saying, well, they may have been killed by people from the diaspora, because some people from the diaspora have been involved into this kind of violence. That was our president saying. Where did he get the information from? And that is why others are now holding some people responsible for saying the president should be a prime suspect in this murder case of two persons that got killed. Hey, folks, as though that is not news, instead of the Liberian leader mounting the podium to address the nation in what is clearly a mysterious murder of two individuals that work in his government, the president only had that kumbaya lecture in Fokiklon Church, and that was it. And we never heard from him again until another person was killed. This time, it was a man called George Fambutu. George Fambutu, there are two stories, or two sides of the story, to his death. According to the Liberia National Police, the man was driving, and while he was driving, he lost control of his steering wheels. And that happened, he ran into a pedestrian, and then that was an accident, and they rushed into the GFA Medical Center, and he was pronounced dead upon arrival. That is our government's account. Again, he having to work for the Liberia Revenue Authority, bringing to 3 persons dying from that institution of government. What is going on? Yet, the president will not leave his usual approach to serious matters of national concern to talk to the Liberian people. He did not. Few days later, another employee of our government, this time Mr. Emmanuel Yinswa, was found dead in his own compound. Mr. Yinswa's death is also one of the mysterious deaths that just happened within a period of 8 days. What is going on? The stories about his death, no one knows what is the truth. But what we know, based on our research and all that been reported, he went out with his friends. They came back home in the middle of the morning, in the middle of the night, sometime in the morning hours. He having to have an austere building. And the story we're getting is that apparently he had some alcohol and he fell from upstairs. And when he fell, that is how he died. This time, Mr. Emmanuel Yinswa, we know having to be an auditor. We are saying he's an auditor because he is the head of the IAA, which having to be an intended auditing agency for the Liberian government. So people are connoting the dots. Why is it that individuals whose line of work have to do with auditing the government will have to die in 4 days. And when the first time it happened, there were two of them, and our president was trying to more like divert the attention of the Liberian people to someone or to some people being responsible. And yet, the government will not launch a full-scale investigation to follow suit with the pronouncement made by the head of the government, President Weah, that the first two were killed in the first place. But folks, let me give you this. And let me read something for you here as we continue with this analysis. And so here you have it. The Liberian leader announced that he has instructed Justice Minister Frank Musadin to coordinate his efforts with partners of the government, including the Americans, in order to establish the cause of the deaths of the 3 government staffers, while expressing his sympathies to the bereaved families. The president said that death should come naturally. Anything to the contrary is unacceptable. Mark that word, unacceptable. I agree. The death of these 4 persons we're talking about, completely unacceptable. It is easier to say it is unacceptable. But what do you do to justify that those words uttered by you are words you really stand by? Prior to the death of Emmanuel and George, the president had earlier informed us that the first 2 were killed. Wasn't that unacceptable? And if the president knew that the first death were unacceptable, why did he trivialize their death? Why? If he knew the death of those individuals were unacceptable, why did he trivialize their death? Talking about boyfriend and girlfriend may have had something to do with it. And that people from the diaspora who are deported may have something to do with it. What was he up to? So the thing is, if the president knew then that these people were killed, again, how did he get his information? Was he just saying some things out of his head? Is that how a leader is supposed to address the country? About 2 employees at the time had died from his government? What was the reason of bringing boyfriend and girlfriend in anyway? The family were grieving. The family of Gifty and Abba Peter were grieving. And yet the Liberian leader were there to insinuate that they might have been killed by some people deported from the diaspora. He will insinuate that their death, boyfriend and girlfriend, might have something to do with it. And here he is telling us that is unacceptable. And I agree, it is unacceptable. But what are you doing with it? But hey, now the president, 4% death now is bringing some semblance of seriousness to him. And so, as our government would normally do, they are now telling us that they are bringing in investigators. Our government has called on the U.S. government through its embassy near Monrovia to help the government to investigate. The president has already caught the case that these people were murdered. And so if he knew that these people were murdered, the information was given to him, right? If the information was not given to him, How did he get the information? Apparently, somebody might have seen them being killed. Maybe that's why he said that. How did he get to know they were killed? Well, they are asking the Americans again and again through its embassy near Monrovia to help investigate. And the information minister, Ledger Rainey, spoke, and I will bring you that part. He contradicted everything the president has said, and he contradicted himself within his BBC interview that I will be touching on later on. But let me share this with you quickly, folks. So as I was saying, on Friday, October the 2nd, two employees of LRA identified as Albert Peters and Gifty Ashman Laman were found dead in a vehicle near Cathedral on Broad Street. Mr. Peters worked as an assistant commissioner for internal audit, and Mistress Laman was manager in the taxpayer services division. The pair were separately married. Albert Peters had Beatrice Andrews Peters as his wife, while Victoria Ashman Laman was married to Sylvester Said Laman, whose contact this paper is yet to assess. So I brought this piece to tell you that these people, they were murdered on October the 2nd. As serious as their death was, the president did trivialize it. He did not call for a full-scale investigation, even though he broke the news that they were killed. But let's make progress. So what happened when these first two were killed? Were their family contacted? Were their family granted access to them to see their body? Let's see what happened. So let me read something for you here quickly, folks. We're going to break that thing down for you to know. The family were also not given the chance to view the body. They have not even given us chance to see the body. Mr. Laman said recently, when we got the information that my wife's body was in a car on Broad Street, the father and I got there only to see St. Moses were already there. LRA Commissioner General was there. The dad and I pleaded for us to see the body, but they prevented us from seeing the body. We went to JFK to even see the body, but they prevented my father-in-law and us from seeing the body. They know the reason. Most of the time, you hear bodies lying in the street. It takes 3 to 4 days before the police from the homicide division go. I think you were trying to say to go there. Why they do that? They want to allow family members to have access. With this type of incident and people preventing family members from seeing the body, we are highly disappointed as a family. That is the account of the family members. They could not allow them to see their family members that, according to the president, were killed. When they got there, St. Moses Funeral Home was always already set to do what a funeral home would normally do: take the body away and take it to the mortuary. But yet they asked that they see the body. According to the family, they were prevented. They even went to JFK, and yet they were prevented. And he narrated that in this country, what we see when somebody is found dead lying somewhere, Sometimes it will take days because they want the family people to come and see. The homicide division, probably at the police to come and see. But this case was different. What is going through your mind? Why it happened that way? It said because they were working in the government, they were big people, so they didn't want them to be seen lying in the street. Was that the reason? Somebody would think yes. But even if that is the reason, now you have the family members there who is the appropriate individuals to see these dead bodies other than the family. No one. The family should have been granted access to see the dead, their loved ones. But according to them, they were prevented. Why? That is the question that needs to be answered. Why were the family members prevented from seeing their loved ones when they have requested and appealed for their family members to be seen? Why? Why were they prevented? And so, folks, if you come to think about it, you will come to understand that it was not fair on the part of the government. Because from there it's clear, they said that it was the government that prevented them from seeing the body. All right? They said the LRA Commissioner General, he was right there. And so they indicated to him that, look, we are family members to these people. We need to see them. And yet they were prevented from seeing their family members. Why? Why will you do that to a family? The government should be in the position to allow the family members to see their loved ones that were found dead in the street so that they can be able to let other family members know. But in this case, it was completely the opposite. Why does it have to be that way? Why it happened like that? But our government is calling on the U.S. government, and I will get to that part very quickly. Bear with me here. So let me read something for you here. Separately, Mr. George F. Fambutu, another staffer at the LRA, was pronounced dead at the John F. Kennedy Memorial Medical Center after he reportedly lost control his steering wheel on the 72nd Boulevard, hit a pedestrian identified as Sapphire, and the car rested in the house of one Dr. Joseph P. Boca in the Roland Duo Curve on the 72nd Boulevard. So this account that I just read to you was actually the account of the government. That was what the government said, that the third person who others are saying was killed from the LRA, the government account, like I said to you earlier, it was the police spokesman who provided that information that the media institution Front Page Africa is quoting right there, that he actually lost control of his steering wheels, and that was how he ran into a pedestrian, and then he got hurt, and then he was rushed to the hospital, and that is how he died. That is the account of the Liberian National Police. But let's listen to another account, and then we can analyze the issue quickly for you. Let's get two accounts because there are two accounts to how the third person died from the LRA. And let me read that quickly for you. A video posted on social media by talk show host Henry Costa showed residents in the 72nd community coming to the aid of Mr. Fambutu. Mr. Costa claimed that Mr. Fambutu, while on his way home along the 72nd Boulevard, was chased by men on motorbikes with machetes. One of them opened the driver's door and gouged the LRA employee on his head, leading him to lose control of the steering wheel. Additionally, the scene in the aftermath of the death of IAA director Neutral was also said to be contaminated by several bystanders and relatives who visited the scene after his death. Speculations have been rife that all four deaths were tied to ongoing audits. So that is the reports that we are getting from Morovia, that these four deaths are related to an audit that have been taking place in the government. So there are two accounts on George Famutu's death. The government is saying the man was driving, and then out of a sudden, he did lose control of the steering wheels. He ran into a pedestrian, bumped into the neighborhood, and he got hurt, boom, he died when he was rushed to the hospital. But according to Henry Costa, who did display a video that took place in the very 77 community where the incident took place, the video showed that men on motorbike chased Mr. Fambutu while he was driving, and one of them used a machete, which is a cutlass, and chopped him. And then that was how he lost consciousness, and then he was not in control, and then there was an accident that led to his death. Who is telling the truth? And that is why our government is saying is going to is calling on the Americans, by the way, to investigate. So, folks, isn't it mysterious? Isn't it out of the ordinary? Isn't this unbelievable that four persons with knowledge of an ongoing audit are calling to this article that I just read to you? We have to die in a period of 8 days. This seems as though there was an operation organized and planned that, look, these individuals with knowledge to this particular information, they need to be put to death. And I'm saying this because I don't see how that is possible for four persons to die under mysterious circumstances in the period of 4 days. In the period of 8 days. How is that possible? Can anybody point to any instance anywhere in Liberia? Can anybody? Where four persons in 3 days' time we have to die in this manner, and the president of Liberia confirming that 2 of them were killed. And yet, the president will wait and wait until 12 days later to go on ELBC and call in. It's almost like the usual thing he does by leaving the Liberian people a voicemail. This is a serious security matter. But the president will call in just to tell the Liberian people that they're calling on the U.S. government to help. Have we not seen this movie before? Have we not seen this moving before, fellow Liberians? Have we not seen this moving before? Where our government call on international people to investigate a matter of national concern. Have we not? I think we have. And so what was the outcome? Did the government take action? The government will always talk about logical conclusion. I think the first one came to a logical conclusion. Right? The first one came to a logical conclusion. But let's go into what the government have been saying, and then I will bring you in to be able to contribute, because very soon I will be concluding my analysis here. So our government, through the new information minister, Ledger Warren, was on BBC. He was on BBC and representing the Liberian government and speaking on this matter. But before I can bring that to you, it's important that I share this with you. Look on the screen very quickly. This is very important, folks. Let me read something for you. And this is a saying. This is a quote from Martin Niemöller. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that name well. But let me read what it says, folks. First, the king for the communists. And I did not speak out, because I was not a communist. Then the king for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then the king for the trade unionist, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then the king for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then the king for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. You want me to read that for you again? First they came for the communists. Then I did not speak out because I was not a communist. Then they came for the socialists. And I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionist. And I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews. And I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me. And then there was no one left to speak out for me. I know many of you might be wondering, why is Anselm reading this to us? Let me speak to those of us in the United States for a little bit. Many of us, and I can say all of us are here, we came with that excitement that I'm coming to America, to any part of the world outside Liberia, to prepare myself and go back to Liberia to contribute. Even if you are in Liberia and you don't want to speak, 4 persons died mysteriously in 8 days, and people are just murmuring among themselves in Liberia. There's no leadership whatsoever on the side of the government and the opposition. We are talking about 4 Liberians that lost their life under mysterious circumstances. And all we do is just talk and talk. And we take no action. And so this is more like a poem, but I will consider it a quote or somebody speaking from experience. He said they came for the communists, and I was minding my business. Let me pull it in a Liberian sense. And I was minding my business because I was not a communist. Then they came for the socialists. And he said, well, I'm not a socialist. Maybe I'm a Christian. So that's not my business. He did not speak out against the evil that was being meted against or upon the communists and the socialists. He did not speak out. And then they came for the trade unionists. And yet he wouldn't open his mouth to confront the evil that was creeping gradually onto him. And then they came for the Jews, and he looked around and said, I'm not a Jew. And he said nothing. And then they came for him, finally. And there was no one left to speak for him. Folks, are you going to speak for George F. Fambutu? Are you going to speak for Emmanuel Yuswa? Are you going to speak for Gifty? Are you going to speak for Abbott Peters? Or are you going to say, oh, Abbott or Yuswa may be cruel, I'm not cruel? Or maybe he works in the government. I don't work in the government. Or because he lives in maybe Bannersville. I don't live in Bannersville. Is that what you're saying today? Whatever evil confronts one, confronts all. And until we come to realize that as a people, it will be too late. I believe many cry about people trying to get at them, and we dismiss them. I know the story of Martin Colley. He complained that they were after him. He escaped from Liberia. Order dismissed him. We are reminded about this, the story of Justina Taylor. Some people didn't believe her. By the grace of God, she's alive today. And many unknown stories that we don't know about. What did we do? We did nothing. And sometimes we felt that they were responsible for whatever was hunting them. And so, because we did nothing, Abbott is no more. Because we sat by and did nothing, Gifty is no more. Because we sat by and did nothing, George Fambutu is no more. How many Liberians will have to die before you sit by and do nothing? Oh, I am not in Liberia, I am in the United States. They can't get to me. Folks, I was trying to tell you earlier, when we came to America, some of us who are in America, let me use us as a case study, we all want to go back home. Some people want to go back home after they retire to start a business, maybe run a school, and enjoy their retirement in Liberia. Can you do that in this kind of security environment that we have? Can you? Or you're going to say, oh, maybe by the time I'm ready, all will be well. Is that what you're saying? When I'm ready to go Liberia, all will be well. It is our collective responsibility to ensure the security of our country. How we do that? Collective voice. Collective voice, sustained effort in holding leaders accountable, to hold others accountable, for them to do their work and protect lives and property. The last time I checked, we have a police force. And our police force, it's been a little over 10 days now, cannot identify the killers of Abbott and Gifty yet. Or even though their president, our president, said they were killed. And the president did not call his international people, the American people. He waited. And then the third person died. And the government waited. And then the fourth person. And now they're calling the Americans. And so, folks, there is terror in the land. The death of one person is significant for us to be alarmed, folks. Let alone for professionals. We have a country that has very little professionals working in Liberia. And for we have to die, what would give any of us, any part of the world, the incentives to want to go to Liberia to contribute? This issue, the death of this individual, it is a significant story of dissatisfaction or discouragement. That is the word I was looking for. To all of us who have plans to go to Liberia to contribute in whatever ways best that we can. This is significant to discourage us. I can imagine how many persons were planning to visit Liberia next year or this year who will have to abort their trip because of this tragedy. It's like you are preventing thousands of dollars from going into the country because of this. And yet our government will resort to what it would normally do, grabbing the low-hanging fruits. So I'm just showing you an image of our president that was captured on the BBC website, where they had this story about our information minister trying to lecture the world about this unacceptable killing of 4 Liberian professionals. That is the image there. That's why BBC has on its website. But let me go to what the information minister said, and then I will open the phone line. So folks, you can start calling in right now because I will soon start taking calls. So this is our information minister talking about, the first thing he said was that the people that die are not auditors. That was the first thing the information minister said. He said they are not auditors. What difference does it make if they are not auditors? What difference does it make if these individuals are not auditors? Do they have to be auditors before they died? So what difference does it make? These are people that have been working in the auditing line in the 2 separate agencies of government. And you think by saying they are not auditors will change the fact that they were murdered? Will change the fact that the way they die will scare people from going into the country? And this is a government that will say, protests can scaring away investors. I don't think so. I think news like this of professionals getting killed and the government cannot identify the doers or the killers is the thing that has the propensity to scare away investors. That people will die and the government is acting as though it's incapacitated. But let me share more news with you. When the BBC journalist pressed Ledger reading, this is what he said. The Ledger reading was pressed whether there has been a murder investigation into the matter. This is what he said. He said it would be foolhardy for me to say that there is a murder investigation going on. Some people are so eloquent. They are so eloquent. And sometimes their eloquence runs contrary to the facts. Your president said these people were killed. And you are telling the international community that it will be foolhardy. The word foolhardy is like saying reckless. It will be reckless for me as an official spokesman of government to say we are carrying on a murder investigation. What kind of investigation you think you will carry out when people are killed, as confirmed by the president? What kind of investigation is going to be? How are you going to call it? Criminal investigation? I thought these people were killed. The president broke the news that they were killed. So it got to be a murder investigation. And yet, Elijah Ureni said it would be foolish, it would be reckless, it would not be courteous, it would not be the right thing for me to say. It would be foolhardy for me to say we are conducting a murder investigation. Oh my God. Liberian people, y'all help me with this one. Elijah Ureni went on, the information minister went on by saying, there are people that are coming up with conspiracy theories. Oh, my people. What? Mr. Information Minister, do you really mean to say that? That people are coming up with conspiracy theories? What is the conspiracy theory here? The president said they were killed. The president said boyfriend and girlfriend has something to do with it. The president said people deported from diaspora may have something to do with it. The police said even Fambutu's death, he did lose control of the steering wheel. And that's how he died. Even though, according to Costa, there's a video from the community in the 72nd area, men seen on motorbike chasing him as he drove, and used machete and chopped him, and that's how he lost. What is the conspiracy theory? It's so difficult for the government to be able to tell that this, because the thing is simple. The other story is that a machete, a cutlass was used, and they cut him with a cutlass, I think somewhere on his head or somewhere. So all I expected the well-learned information minister to have said, especially with the case of Fambutu, who there's another story saying that he was caught or he was chopped with a machete or cutlass, to say, hey, in the case of Josh Fambutu, there's a story that he was killed with a machete, but there's no machete mark on him. There's no cut mark on his body. Was it that difficult, folks, for the information minister to have provided that information to clarify that actually this man was not killed, and thereby confirming government own side of the story that he was just involved into an accident because he did lose control of the steering wheels? Could he not give us that information? He fell flat. He won't get that information. Instead, he said people are coming up with conspiracy theories. The death of Newswa is a conspiracy theory. He hung out with friends. They went home. And we've been told that he fell and he was found dead. There's blood on the floor. So he died. Some people are saying he was killed. You have people, the security, to investigate and tell the truth and bring the facts. But to just say that conspiracy theories without telling what actually happened, that was completely ridiculous on the part of the information minister. That was a disservice. That was an insult to the death of these individuals and to their family and the entire nation. Conspiracy theories. Prove the conspiracy theories. What are the conspiracy theories that are out there? And what is the truth? Or what are the truths to these individual debts that you have in your possession, for which you are saying other accounts are nothing but conspiracy theories? You don't have it. You are on BBC and you can't prove it. And yet you are the information minister. Oh, Ledger Wurini, you are very, very eloquent. You have that ability. But you didn't get a job done, buddy. You did not. Maybe there's a reason. And so our government has resorted to its usual low-hanging fruit. Oh, they call the American people, then the noise with that. Because that was the case with the missing 16 billion. That was the case with the misapplied $25 million. They called the Americans through an embassy for help. The American hired Crow came, and there was an investigation. The report was given to the government. The Liberian leader will not act on the report. They didn't have the capacity, or they felt that any report that would have come from the Liberian government would not have been respected by the Liberian people. So in their wisdom, it was okay to bring international people to do an investigation. They did the investigation. The report was made known to the Liberian government, and the Liberian government, through its president, will not act on the result. Yeah, what they did? They took the Crow report and sent it to the Liberian Auditing Commission, GSA. GSA did its work, and yet our government will not act on it, especially in the case of the $25 million map up. When the report came up, they took that report and sent it to LACC, the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission. But mind you now, there was a report that was released by the government through the PIT, that is the Presidential Investigative Team. The secretariat of that team was the FIU that was headed by Alice Coffey. They did their report, and the report was indicting of individuals within the government. And yet our government will not act on the report. So to have sent the report to the LACC, when in fact the LLCC was a member on the PIT, was just buying time and playing tricks with the Liberian people. And today, since that report was sent to the LACC, that having to be part of the initial report anyway, that report has been in coma. Front page reported at some point, or very recently, that the report was leaked. And in that report, the piece that we read here, that report cleared Mr. Samuel Twelve of any wrongdoing whatsoever. But in that report, the official report that came from Crow, money went missing. So if even you could not hold Samuel Twelve responsible, what's about the honorment? What did Samuel Twelve do as head of the economic management team? If they believe that some individual, excluding Samuel Twelve, they did anything wrong, couldn't they have held these people accountable? No, they wouldn't do it. And so again, for us to see our government coming with the same low-hanging fruit tactic of calling investigator, how sure are we this time when the report comes, that very report will be used? Why wouldn't we want to believe that when they bring the report, they will send it to the police and they will send it to NSA to investigate, as they did in the case of the $25 million investigation or report? Stop playing us. 4 persons died here. And the information minister can't get his facts straight on BBC. And you want Liberians to buy it. Let me continue so I can allow you to come in. Ledger Wurini went on to say, we as a government don't really know what happened. He said it on BBC. Go on BBC right now. Go and listen to him. He said, we as a government don't know what really happened. We are in trouble. Our government does not know what really happened or what really happened. And then we heard our president in the church saying they were killed. And yet the information minister will say, we don't know what really happened. Are they coordinating here? Does he not know that the president said that the first two were killed? Did he not hear the president saying that boyfriend and girlfriend has something to do with it? Did he not know that the president said it might have been people deported from the diaspora responsible for the death of the first two, Abbott and Gifty? Did Mr. Information Minister not know that? And he is telling the BBC, we as a government don't know what really happened. I got his quote here. I listened to it very attentively. And that's why he said, and so he said, we are calling on the Americans to help us. And this is another quote from him. We have capable hands. We do have the capability as a government to investigate. So he is saying the government has capable hands. The government has the capability to investigate. He's telling the BBC. But then in the same BBC, he's calling on the US government to come and investigate. I am able to do my assignment. I'm a genius in math. I have my math assignment. And then I'm calling my brother in America to come and help. Oh, what a genius I am. Fellow Liberians, do you want to buy this? 4 professional Liberians die in this manner. And our government is telling us first, it does not know what happened. Yet, contradicting the president. Ledger will reading, the information minister is saying, we don't know what happened. But the president is saying, we know what happened. He said, we have capable hands. We have the capability to investigate, but we want an American to come. 2 different statements. This bluff is diabolical. It is a bluff and it is diabolical. Playing with people's lives here. You're playing with the security of the country. Folks, this is how I will end my analysis. I hope I was able to give you fair, balanced, and responsible analysis. Yeah, I focus on Liberia. We educate, we elevate, and we promote all things Liberia. And we just brought you a critically balanced and analytical explanation of the deaths of 4 Liberian professionals that died in a period of 8 days. And our government is claiming it did not know what happened. And yet the president is saying otherwise. And yet they're telling us that they have the capability to do so. But they are calling on the Americans to come, help, and investigate. And I'm saying to you, we have seen this movie before. And at the end of the movie, that movie ended in suspense. We don't know how that movie ended up to today's date. How will this one end? Well, I have played my part. It is now time for you to call and comment and disagree and do whatever you think is your own view, or say whatever you think is your own view on the issue. So let me not waste your time. So folks, the number is on the screen right there. The number is on the screen right there. Quickly, call in. Quickly call in. here as you try to call in here
All
quickly.
participants are muted, and they can unmute themselves.
Okay. All right, folks. All is set now for you to call in quickly. And while I wait for you, let me see if I can read some comments here quickly. We want to give um, our friends who always do well by writing, and we appreciate you writing all the time. That is one of the ways to be part of the conversation here, focus on Liberia. Let me read from some comments. Elizana Brown, he said, Elizana Brown is watching. Thanks for watching. Elizana, make sure you like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel here, focus on Liberia. Kamara Aliu, the president said, even if it boyfriend business, nobody should be killed. I listened to my president very well. Yes, it's true. He said that. But why would he have to bring boyfriend and girlfriend in? Aliu again, you're looking for someone to protest again. You need to protest for your black people dying each day. All right. He's making his point there. This one from Saki White. We have said they were killed by boyfriend and girlfriend, not just killed. Please speak the truth. All right, that is your take. I said my own. I appreciate you saying yours. Deborah Annie Kroma, he's dancing zombie dance. Yeah, I played the song from the very beginning. Why these people were killed. The president was seen dancing the zombie dance when he went to dedicate the Gobachev market. He's dancing zombie dance. While the family cried, the president was seen dancing zombie dance, and that was unfortunate on his part to do so. But some people will come here and justify that. Kamara again, Kamara Ali, Anthony, it's news. If anything happens in Liberia, of course, someone told him. How did you know? People saw it before the media pick it up. Well, he's the president. He must tell the truth. That's what we want, Aliu. Aliu is writing here. He's doing well. Austin Tamber writes, have you given authority to every citizen by law to kill people at their own judgment? I believe our government should respond for all human life lost without any prejudice and criminalization, he writes. All right, just few comments there, folks. Let me see if we have any caller yet. The man Baton Kula has just joined the line here. Let me see if we can bring in that Takula. See if we can bring in that Takula. That Takula, if you can hear me quickly to the issue.
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, go ahead, that Takula.
I caught you on the tail end. What's your question tonight? What are you trying to get people to respond to?
Oh well, I just did an analysis. I did my presentation on the deaths of the four individuals who got killed, and our government is saying through the information minister, it did not know what happened, but they will not tell us. The information minister went on by saying people are just throwing out conspiracy theories. And then he said that the government has the capable hands to investigate, but at the same time, they call it on the Americans. And we know we've seen this movie before. The international people were caught in, and the government did not act on the report as anyone would have expected. The very report that they sought from the international community, they went and sent it to government institutions that couldn't do it. The president said that people were killed, but information minister saying they don't know what happened. So, I mean, we're looking at these deaths and saying, hey, this is a serious matter. Liberian people are, they need answers. And so that is the discussion today. So you can give your take on that.
Yeah, it is indeed a serious matter. And it's sad to see a country being run like a social club. The first thing every country does, or every serious country does, in a case where four people, permanent citizens, die back to back to back within a span of 1 week, is that the information minister and those charged with informing the public come together and have a press conference as a whole. So the justice minister, the information minister, the police director, all of them should have come forth and presented a concerted effort in finding who the culprits were and detailing what would be done to get to the bottom of this situation. Instead, the whole thing was bundled to begin with when the whole scene, the crime scene was not taken care of like it's done in the world. I mean, basic crime scene investigation, CSI, we don't seem to have in that country. So the crime scene was contaminated in all of the cases. No proper investigation was done. In America, they tell you the simple three things in any investigation: means, motive, and opportunity. So they should have been giving us an idea where they think or what they think could be happening. Are these cases related? Is it a single killer that's doing this? Is it a group of killers? Is it some sort of conspiracy? Whatever the case may be. Instead, what did we get? We had our president giving us some rumor as if he's one of the guys in the street talking about girlfriend and boyfriend business. I mean, these guys have to get serious. They really have to get serious about their information dissemination and about basic investigation tactics in terms of handling crime. So we have a serious problem in our country. You know, what kind of investor would want to come to invest in a country like that? You know, who would want to come to visit a country like that? You know, there's no confidence. The president does not exude any kind of confidence in the security sector, in the information dissemination process, in anything that is what you call a country putting forth an investigation that is that serious. You have four people in the financial sector die back to back, and there's nothing coming from the powers that be to tell us what's going on here. It's sad.
It is
It's
certainly
really
sad,
sad.
and Dr. Kula, thank you so very much for your contribution.
So thank you.
All right, Dr. Kula, that giving his take on the issue. Again, folks, in cyberspace, that was Dr. Barton Kula. If you want to participate, you can give us a call here at Focus on Liberia, and we will certainly take your call. Let me read some comments again. Eugene Messan, sorry if I'm not pronouncing his name very well. It's because the guys can read without understanding. I don't know what he's referring to. Eugene, again, I think you and your collaborator just want to find fault on the president. What is wrong with someone saying, even if it is about boyfriend and girlfriend? All right. Elizabeth Joy Franklin, the government is doing the killings. So why won't they be confused? All right. Then the SK Kaki, great analysis. Thank you, sir. All right. Somebody is telling me my analysis is great, while others are coming after me. I think I have another color here. Let me take my next color here. That is the man, Kesely Dubber. Mr. Dubber, quickly to the issue, sir.
Yes, sir, Mr. Sear. How are you?
My man, I'm doing well. We have 4 persons killed, people that were working and had knowledge of all the operation in our government. What does that say about the country? And what can we do about it as a people?
Uh, see, this whole thing about murder is kind of embarrassing and scary. And you know, this government is drowning fast, very fast, and everyone knows that. And the government is trying to, in my mind, cover up from the past mistakes. You know, there have been a whole lot of leaks coming from the government in past time. The 25 million mop up, the 16 billion, and a couple of information that came from the government cycle. What I think the government is now trying to do is to try to see how they can close those loopholes. But instead of closing those loopholes, I think they are even making it worse. Because murdering people is not going to solve the problem. It's only going to make it worse. And I have said this thing over and over, and I will continue to say it. Most of the government officials working in the government, it looks like they are working on a threat. I can say that for a fact. Their actions, the remarks they made it sound like they are working on a threat or they are member of some court that you know the only time you see them confessing is when they leave the society. But once they are there, this is the first government I have seen looking like this, where everybody will just sit and praise the president, whether he's going right, whether he's going wrong or not. Everybody singing song of praise. The only time they notice that it is wrong when they are out of it.
Casalio, Mr. Double, the thing is that from what the president said in the church, that these people might have been killed. I mean, these people were killed. He certainly said they were killed. And boyfriend and girlfriend had something to do with it. And that, people from the diaspora who are deported, maybe might have something. So, I mean, it's more like the president is trying to exonerate himself and the government here that they didn't do anything. So let's take that at face value. Okay, this must have been done by somebody, and the government has nothing to do with it. So having established that, why is it so difficult now to get to the bottom of this thing that you have to call international people? Something your government has no hand in. Do you have to call international people to prove it?
Yeah, Anthony, my brother, in diplomacy, it won't be a hard thing to call the people because they want to fool the common man on the ground. You and I know that when a very international community they are calling, when the international community go out there and have any findings, they are working in line with our justice ministry. They are not going to be the one to come and publish the findings they have. Take, for example, the mop-up, the Crow report. The Crow report did not go public. There were portions in the Crow report that you and I don't, up to now, would not even know why they seal it up. But the government is aware of it. Right? Mm-hmm. So they will go out there and help our people and get the information. Will the government publish the information to you and myself? No. They won't do it. So the thing about calling the international community to go in and help.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Dawa, I'm not cutting you off, but let's bring in this justice minister. What is his history with the number of investigations that we are aware of in the past? Let me bring you.
That's the question we should be asking right now.
Yeah, with the 25, with the 16 billion. Do you remember? Do you recall?
Thank you.
That at some point they had a list of suspects, somewhere up to 25%. What happened to those individuals with the justice minister?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And not just that. If even the very president has set up a committee, the president told that in 10 days, the findings are going to be published. He was going to take action. And not just that, there are several cases, countless amount of cases that the president has set up committees on. At the end of the day, they will tell you to bring reports. And we hear nothing about it. Absolutely nothing about it. This government is so insensitive. This government is one of the governments, I don't know if I ever see any other government like this. This government is so insensitive. And you know who I blame most time when these things are happening are those educated people. The educated people are the ones I blame. See, the people behave as if they say, well, at this job, they will never have any other job. You have people with master's degree. You have people with PhD running behind a president who cannot even read his left for his right. And they sit there and allow themselves to go down the drain and sing along with him.
Well,
as if to say tomorrow they will not even get job, they leave some of the job that they are occupying. It is so sad for us, my brother.
Those people might be saying that they got their degrees so they can be able to survive, and now they have the bread before them. It's time for them to, enjoy the fruit of the degree they earn. So maybe that's why it is, my brother.
That's not the essence of you and myself getting degree. The essence of us getting education is to be able to impact the life of people, not negatively. Any education that you learn to impact the life of people negatively is not education.
All right.
That's been wicked. That's been diabolical in its sense. It's got no sense. And I can tell you, my brother, we have said it over these people will not go unpunished. Me, I know that for a fact. These people will not go unpunished.
Well, Kasali, I'm not sure of that. The CDC that were covering ruling party now said that with the Ellen folks, and they are in political bed with them, and Ellen is even their best friend. Even they told us that they will have brought the war crime code. Prince Johnson is now the president's godfather. He is like the godfather to the CDC as a whole. So we've seen this moving before. I mean, can you imagine Ellen's children are still passing around, and the government is even negotiating with Robert Sally about his money? I'm talking about millions of dollars here. So, Kesali, when people say that these people will not go unpunished, I don't buy it, because any administration that comes to power, they don't go after the one they succeed. I don't know why, but that's your take.
Yes. Anthony.
Yeah.
Just to end up on this note, too much of impunity. We do not wish for war in Liberia no more.
No, we don't.
Nobody wish for it. It is not a good thing to even discuss it. But if we take back at what brought us to the 14-year civil war we had, this is a similar path we are taking. This is the similar path we are taking. The children of Israel did not get punished one time by God. So for people to say because people come from war, they cannot go back to it, nobody wish for it. I do not wish for it. I have never, because I know what I went through the 14 years. I was never out of Liberia. I spent all of my entire war in Liberia. I know what I went through.
Thank you.
I will not wish for it. That is why we urge this government to do the right thing. You and I will discuss it. Other people might not have that patience to discuss it the way we are discussing it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kesali. It is often said election has consequences. And so the vote that you have in your hand that you cast on that fateful day will decide how your life will go. And that is what we are seeing today. 4 persons have died, and they have died mysteriously. And we have a government that is boasting of having the capable hands, and yet they're telling us they don't know what happened. And yet the president is saying they were killed. But they will not identify the killers. Folks, I have to close this, but I have something juicy for you. The government is calling on the international community through the U.S. Embassy to help investigate to get to the bottom of this. Should we trust that? I am not buying it. Oh, I am not buying it, and I'm not buying it, and I am not buying it, and yes, why? Many of you might have forgotten, but this is what we have chosen to contribute to our country. I know of the Global Witness Report. The Global Witness Report was the report that had unearthed financial misdealings about former officials who were board members at NOCAL, and that they had allotted for themselves additional pay other than what according to the art created, were due to them. And so there was an alarm. And the president, George Manuel Weah, constituted a committee. And the chair of that committee, I still remember, was Councillor Nambodiki, the fake Liberian Nigerian currently sitting at LACC. The report was swift. And it landed on the desk of the president. And what they did was a violation of the act that created no car. But what was the decision of the government? The report in the first place was not made public to the Liberian people. The report was not released to the Liberian people. The report on no car was not released to the Liberian people by the Liberian government. That report is still a secret today. When we did further digging, we were told that those officials of government were made to restitute the money that they had given themselves, contrary to the act that created no car. That was our government decision. The people that stole the money, just pay the money back, you're good. Where are we heading? Also, people can steal money. People can misapply and misappropriate money. And the penalty is for them to just bring the money back and then they're good. What example are you setting by doing that? That was what our government did. Fast forward. There's a man called Bernie Samokai. He served as defense minister for our government. For the 12 years the Unity Party was in power. He, along with Ellen Johnson Sirleaf and some officials, misapplied AFL pension money. And there was an investigation. What I just learned that I'm yet to verify is that that man is running to be senator in our country, to the knowledge of our government. Why? I don't know. Maybe his qualification is that he did misapplied money that was intended for poor AFL. Our government, the current government of George Manuel Weah, struck a deal with Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. In George Weah's own words, they were going to do everything they can to pay back the AFL money. This kind of thing must be communicated to the Liberian people to know whether the government has done the right thing. To this point, I don't know. But the fact is, he did misapply the AFL money. He landed into trouble with the Liberian government. The matter went into court. Yes, he was wrong to have done that. And not he alone. He and other officials at that very ministry were involved. My understanding from court records is that they're supposed to pay back X amount of money. Has Bernie Samokai paid back that money? I don't know, and I don't think so. I don't think so. But today, he is a candidate in your country, in my country. Seriously. That is the terror report that had to do with money in Liberia. Fast forward. There was another corruption scandal that was reported at the Agriculture Ministry, the Ministry of Agriculture. My memory tells me it was around $25 million. About that report, I don't know how it happened. But there was a scandal and there was a committee constituted for investigation into that money. We don't know where the report is. Fast forward. There is a gentleman called Abu Kamara. During the campaign, he was codenamed Abu Kili. Mr. Abu Benu Kamara became the candidate of the CDC. Report from LACC that the Liberian Anti-Corruption Commission had established that Mr. Abu Kamara had taken for himself money that was duly for the Liberian government, and that he had used that money for purposes not intended except for his personal aggrandizement. He was found guilty of taking money that he should not have taken. They intellectualized that report. Our current government had the audacity to put Mr. Abu Kamara on its ticket to run to be candidate for a representative seat. Abu Kamara won that seat. That campaign went to court. There was a rerun, a recount, something. Abu won that seat. Abu, an indicted LACC criminal, sits comfortably in the House of Representatives as a representative in the Republic of Liberia. Are we serious here? I'm not buying it. Fast forward. I don't want to bore you about the 16 billion. You all know the story. The 25 million map on exercise. You all know the story. But let me tell you that the $25 million map on exercise report, since it was sent to the LACC, and when the president sent the report to LACC, he had asked for 7 days. And the team constitutor said, no, Mr. President, it's not possible. So I think he have given them 2 weeks, or 2 months. It's been 1 year, 4 months today. The president of the republic is yet to act on that report. A report that he had asked for in 7 days. And because of appeal, 2 months, it's been 2 years. Not 2 years, but 1 year, 4 months now. That report is still at the LACC. That report is yet to come out. And during that time, our friends in the government said that human heads, were going to roll. In other words, the president was ready to act on people who were implicated or indicted in the report. Heads are yet to roll. I don't want to bore you about Matthew Innes's death. We were told it was a hit and run. Mr. Innes was killed. Liberians are still wondering why. As though Mr. Innes's death was not enough, now comes Abbott and give tea on Broad Street, found there in a car right by Sacred Heart Cathedral. And our leader is saying they were killed. Maybe boyfriend and girlfriend had something to do with it. Maybe some people from the diaspora were deported. Folks. So for me to see my government calling the U.S. government through its embassy to come ahead and investigate the murder of the 4 professionals, should us, anybody, have any reason to hope that there will be a logical conclusion in this matter? What do you think? I'm saying no. Oh, no, I'm not buying it. I have just given you instances, reports upon reports, that the government could not come to a logical conclusion. So why should I? Why should you? Why should we? Why should Mama Liberia come to believe that something is going to come out of this one? But I have to live with their fellow Liberians. But I want to tell you, Abbott, Giftee, Mr. Emmanuel Yuswa, and George Fambutu are no more. They are no more because they were killed. What are you saying? Fellow Liberians, what are you saying? Let me leave you with this from Martin Niemöller. Niemöller writes, first they came for the communists, and I did not speak out because I was not a communist. Then they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. And if I may add, because they came for the government officials, and I did not speak out because I was not a government official. And they came for the young boy who was reported killed, and I did not speak out because I don't ride motorbike. And some of them came for somebody, and they beat him, and they harassed him, and I did not speak out because he and I are not from the same county. What are you saying? And he continues to write. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. And then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. Will someone be left to speak for you? Will someone be left to speak for you when your time comes? Will you speak for Abba now? Will you speak for Gifty? Will you speak for Fambutu? Will you speak for Yinswa? Or you will not because they work in government and you don't? Will you not because they are maybe sedition? Some people are saying, and you are not a sedition. Or because they are professional, you're not a professional, so you will not speak. Or you are in America comfortably, enjoying hamburger, and so you will not speak. When your time comes, who will speak for you? And that is what I'm leaving with you as I end this edition, an analytical edition of Focus on Liberia's Hour of Politics with me, Anthony Sie, your host. I hope I did not disappoint you in this presentation. But I have a song for you. I guess many of you know that song. That song says, we are all Liberians. Whether you are ruling position, whether you are opposition, or a no position like me, you are still a Liberian. I want you to listen to that song for just 1 minute. And then think about it. And then you will get to know the four that die are Liberians just like you. And yeah, you sit there and you say nothing. Just as Mountain did. I'm talking about Mountain Niemöller, the guy who said they came for the communists. I did not say anything because I was not a communist. And then the socialists, and then the Jews, and then they came for me. And there was no one left to speak for me. But again, let me not bore you. I've ended my presentation. Enjoy the song that says, we are all Liberians. And Liberia is that beautiful home we will always have. Until we all protect it jealously and protect each other, especially when it comes to security, then we will not have that glorious land of liberty by God's coming. On that note, my name is Anthony Sie, the host of the Hour of Politics, saying to you, bye-bye.
We are Liberians. Liberia is our home. Liberian people. Liberia, you Liberia